I had the great fortune to sit down again with Tony from VR Reviews. We talked Upload VR Showcase, the Quest firmware version 40, games that use Passthrough and VR accessories, and more. And hey, if you haven't had a chance, check out our live streams. This is only our second. We did one a couple weeks ago. This was from our July 9th, 10 p.m. GMT live stream. We've had an amazing time doing this. It's been great to talk to another VR YouTuber, and we're hoping to do another this coming week. So be sure to look out for that notification. And I never ask for this. If you can, please go ahead and click on the bell so that you get notified. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the first live event on VR Reviews. I'm joined by Greg from King of Nerds. Greg, did you want to introduce yourself a little bit to everyone?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Greg from King of Nerds. I have a VR YouTube channel where, just like Tony, I concentrate on all things VR. Sometimes it's accessories. Other times it's interviews and, games. It's all the same things that Tony does. And in fact, that's how, of course, Tony and I came across each other. And that's why I'm here today, because we have this mutual interest. And yeah.
Great. Yeah. Look, so firstly, apologies today, just to extend out to everyone in terms of this is my first time using the software. You'll probably become aware of that. So there will be some teething issues as we go through. But hopefully everything should go smoother than anticipated. So we've got a few things to talk about on today's episode, if you like today's show. And one of our first discussion points, as you might be aware, we just had the Upload VR Gaming Showcase. So the Upload Gaming Showcase, for anyone who isn't aware, is about a 45-minute event showing some of the latest and greatest VR games coming to a headset near you. So in this recent gaming showcase, they showed a few games that we know of already, like the Nerf Ultimate Championships, as well as a few surprises that I certainly wasn't aware of. And myself and Greg have our own little picks of the games that we enjoyed. We're not going to go over every game, it would take too long, but we have our own little favorites. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you, Greg, what were your sort of standouts, or what did you think of Upload VR in general? How did you find the event?
I'll tell you what, of all the things that they showed today, the smallest update of all is with Demio. They have a brand new character named Oana, and she has like a little lynx or some type of, Thundercat or whatever that is, looks to be like her partner. And she's going to use it as a weapon to attack monsters. I mean, freaking fantastic, man. The entire game, Demio, is incredible. They keep bringing out new levels. They keep bringing out new characters with new spells, new charges. And this is just, one more addition that I think is going to be fantastic. And I'm crazy looking forward to it. The next thing that really got my attention was Twilight Zone VR. When I was a kid watching Twilight Zone, it freaked me out. And not like in a horror way, but in that mind twist way. And anytime there would be like a 24-hour Twilight Zone marathon on TV, I was all in. I think I've seen every single episode. I watched the 80s version. I watched the 2000s versions. I just love the show. So the idea of having that in VR, and you know what? Horror in VR is a lot different, a lot more intense than horror movies. Because I can watch a horror film all day. I don't care. I actually laugh in them. But, that thing where you turn around and there's someone staring at you with weird eyes face to face. No, I can't do it. So I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to see my way through to the end of this game. And I'm probably going to be scared to death. But, it is what it is. And you've got to do what you got to do in order to enjoy the things that you enjoy. And Twilight Zone VR, I'm all in. But, at the outset of the entire VR cavalcade here, they had this brand new game by Trebuchet. And, it's this sword fighter, player versus player, and doing any type of combat over VR, especially a long distance, is difficult. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but man, it looks fantastic. It's something that I think, remember back in the Wii, when the Wii came out and they had the Wiimotes and everyone had this idea that they were going to be doing sword fighting. Well, it didn't happen. And so now we've had several games that have had sword fighting, but it's often not, it's often single player. So 2-player sword fighting, Broken Edge by Trebuchet, I am all in.
Yeah, look, I got to say, just on that, Broken Edge, I think was probably a favorite of mine too. I do like I do like the art style. It reminds me of Swordsman VR, a game that's coming out June 14th on the Quest 2. They are releasing their new update along with that June 14th release that's going to make it more realistic, the advanced combat update. And so that's again another dueling combat game. It's a bit of a different style to this one, isn't the same kind of visuals, more realistic. But yeah, Broken Edge again, anything sword fighting in virtual reality. It looks fantastic. And I got to say, in addition to that, I really enjoyed Heli Squad here. So Heli Squad is made by the same people who make Warplanes. So the Warplane series is something that's come out initially on App Lab, but has especially World War One warplanes. It migrated to the official Quest store, and their first game was focused on World War One. So it was very old tech planes where you had to throw bombs out the side of your cockpit. That's the kind of that's the kind of game you had there. So a lot of low tech kind of aeroplanes and combat. And then they've just released a new one. It's a World War II focused game. Same kind of deal. You could play co-op. You can play different scenarios. You earn money and rewards and buy new planes and build a squad. Except this was set in World War II. So much more advanced, a lot faster and better visuals too. And and both games are fantastic. And so with the release of Heli Squad here, as you can see in the trailer, that was something that I got to say really excited me, because it's, they have a fantastic track record already. This new game's going to be really, really good. And it involves helicopters. I mean, so it's going to be probably the same level of quality, I'd imagine, except helicopters. And to be honest, that appeals to me a lot more than planes. I don't know why, but something about being able to fly a helicopter is just really awesome. So that's one thing that really stood out to me in that in the Upload VR.
Can I tell you, you hit on something that I noticed there. Vertigo Games is making a game that was one of the videos that they showed in the showcase, and it looks like it's a puzzle game. It's like really cute, and it's funny because when the logo came up, said Vertigo Games, I'm just like, Vertigo Games, I'm in. I like it, anything that they make. They're a competent VR developer. They're one of the very first ones since 2016. So they've been in this longer than a lot of the other guys that were showing trailers today. And then I saw the game, and it was like very basic. Or to me, it looked very basic, puzzle, cartoony. But to the point you made, like when the developer is that good, I'm just like, I'm going to do it then, like Alchemy Labs, anything that they make, it's almost an instant buy for me. And it's neat because we're now finally at that point in VR where there's some guys that have been around. Like 2 years as a VR developer is a long time right now. So if someone's been around for 5 years, like and I want to support them. So I felt like the entire showcase was it's great. I'm glad that they're doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Shell Games is another big standout company for me, and I know whatever they release is going to be of a certain standard of quality. Like they're going to release Among Us VR at some point, and we know it's a fantastic game. I know it's going to you just know it's going to be a really great experience. I mean, not for the fact that the original game, the flat screen version, is great. So the gameplay elements are there, and obviously being in Shell VR's hands, they're going to make a good job of that.
Sure.
The other game that I think stood out to me, I mean, it wasn't anything too unique, but it just looked really good, and that was Hubris. And I don't think I've got a video of it here, but Hubris is a sci-fi space game, and you're part of this special squad, the O, the Order of Objectivity, and you have to go down to a planet and terraform it. And it's all about surviving in this harsh planet environment with you have to fight different aliens, and there's futuristic weapons and machinery. It's right up my alley, that kind of sci-fi. And on the Steam VR version looks really good. Obviously the MetaQuest version will be downgraded in terms of graphics and things, but yeah, I'm really interested to see how that one turns out. So that's Hubris. Yeah, but they were my highlights for me, definitely. I think I'll be doing a video on that a bit later as well, just picking out some of my favorites and going into a bit more depth with them. But That's Upload VR Gaming Showcase. You can check it out. It's on YouTube now. It's been uploaded there, so you can check out the full 45-minute stream of those trailers. Now on to our next topic, and I can kick us off with this one, Greg, if you like.
Yeah,
And this is the version 40 update. So allow me to share my screen here. There we go. So we can see it in my browser here, the version 40 update. I'll go down there. So there's a few different things that come in this version 40 update. It's been rolling out for a little time now, so I think most people should have it by now. And it's kind of a milestone, you know, the 40th update, the 40th Quest update. And what we've seen with this latest update, I guess there's nothing mind-blowing in there. I was a little disappointed. I thought there might be something bigger, being it's the big 4.0, you know. But there's a lot of security-based stuff. So if you're into security, then if security floats your boat, then this might be a big one for you. But so essentially, to go through some of the features here, I'll just look at the browser here. So they introduced this ability to lock specific apps. So in past updates, you're able to introduce different profiles, right, and lock your profile using this pattern system, as you can see in this image. But what this new update allows you to do is lock specific apps. So if you want to lock a specific game, so it's Resident Evil 4, right? And but allow someone to use all your other apps and games. Maybe it's someone who cannot play Resident Evil 4 because they're a bit too young for it. You can lock it so you know they can use your headset, use everything else, but Resident Evil 4 is behind this kind of pattern security system. There's also secure payment, so instead of having to use the app for 3D secure payments, you can now do it inside your headset. And you've also got the fact that this latest update adds end-to-end encryption for messages and calls using Messenger. So those are some of the security features. They've also added new keyboards, including the Apple Magic keyboard, which was that was added in version 37, but they've added some more Logitech keyboards in this new update, and an audio option which allows users to select, from left and right channels and adjust accordingly. And this could be good for people who are perhaps hard of hearing. For example, someone hears better out the right ear than the left, then adjusting the audio, could be something that's useful for them. So for me, the final verdict for this whole thing is, while the version 40 update, it adds some pretty cool features. There's nothing mind-blowing in there. Nothing that's, really, like I said, unless security really floats your boat, nothing that really got me too excited. But maybe we'll see more exciting stuff in the version 50 update. But what's your take on this, Greg? What do you think about this latest one?
So I'm pretty much an iPhone guy. I've got a couple Android devices, but the iPhone never used the draw to create a pattern thing, which I always thought was brilliant. I always thought I'd be the guy, because I'm a very visual person, that would remember his lock code, no problem, until I set it on the Quest when that first came out. Because on the Quest, they released this a couple months ago, more than a couple, like 4 or 5 months ago, I think. And you could lock the entire device. And so I just thought, I'm not going to make it simple. I don't want to just do a V or like an M or something. I'm going to do something that's a little bit more unique, but not too tough to remember. I apparently couldn't remember it that well. The next time I went to pick up my headset, I had a time and date that I was going to play with a friend. And then I turned it on and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I set that. And I sat there for probably about 5 minutes, knowing that I kind of had a vague idea, but a vague idea doesn't unlock it,
Yeah.
And I finally figured it out. So I got a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but it's because of me, not because of this concept. I think it's a great concept. I think for parental control, it's a really good idea. If you got kids in the house, you don't want playing a specific game, you can just lock that game down. The only other thing is that the Apple Magic Keyboard, you're right. They already had Apple Magic Keyboard, and the only thing that they added was with the numeric keypad. And at first I was like, you think it would just work, but then you got to remember it's got to be visualized and they have to lay it out that the cameras have to see it. And it's a wider keyboard. So, that makes sense. But I tried one of the Logitech keyboards, the original one. Have you tried that? And what did you think?
Uh, yeah, it was okay. Like it worked reasonably well. I
Yeah.
thought that I could see it wasn't quite there for me yet. I don't know if that makes sense. It wasn't quite there for me yet as like I wouldn't be in the headset working for hours on it. I couldn't see myself
Right.
doing that. But it was functional, and I could see where they were going with it. I mean, what were your thoughts?
So I looked at the original, like when the video came out, or not the video, I apologize, when the software came out, the workspaces.
Mm,
And that day that it came out, I got into it because I was super excited. And I think what amazed me was that it was as functional as it was from the get-go. So when they included any form of keyboard, I was all in.
mm,
And because like the larger subject is working in VR,
mm.
and can you work in VR? And does VR offer anything that you can't get from Zoom, or
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams? Uh, and yeah, I think there is, but I don't know if it's enough for someone to have the compromise of having to wear an HMD on their face.
Mm,
I think about the people that I often work with virtually. Uh, they do like VR. They own VR headsets, but it's not something they would do for 8 hours.
yeah.
And if they had to choose between a Zoom call for an hour or being in a virtual environment with a bunch of people where there are things like drawing, and passing things back and forth, they wouldn't want to do it because they just see it as an inconvenience. So I think it's good, like Apple doing all the AR stuff on the iPhone and iPad, which no one's going to hold up an iPad and walk down the street, to do AR.
Mm.
But, I think like that, having developers starting to work on all this work centric stuff, even though that Quest is such a heavy device, for a long period, I think it's good.
Mm.
It's all headed to a good place, and I can't wait to see where we end up in 5 to 15 years
Well, that's
working
right.
in VR.
I think it's where it's heading, and that's because I think people can be a bit short-sighted sometimes when it comes to like the grand scheme and the big picture, and like you said,
Sure.
no one with their AR apps, with Apple's AR apps, no one's going to be holding obviously the iPad like that to use them, or they probably
It's too
won't for the
much.
most part. But obviously, that's leading to their VR AR device. So when they bring out that VR AR device, they'll have all these kind of apps that you can use with it. It's kind of like an experimental phase, if you like. They're testing out that technology, even though they don't have the hardware yet. So when the
Sure.
hardware does come along, you know, people will be able to use those apps, and they'll be a lot more proficient in making those kind of things for that headset. So I think there's sort of this grand plan, and even though things might not be perfect, and that brings me on to my next point is this new system now where that allows you to map your walls in your Guardian, in addition to your desk and other furniture and your windows, but map your walls in the Quest, and that leads to this experience here. So I'm just going to run this video. So this is from Tyria Wood's channel, and what you're seeing here is you're seeing Mark Zuckerberg using the Project Cambria. The Project Cambria is blurred out, but you're seeing this demo experience is playing here. It's like a little game, and it uses a feature that we see with the new Quest update that allows you to map your walls as well as your furniture to create mixed reality experiences. Now, this demo is obviously on the when you can play it on the Quest 2, but of course the Project Cambria has high definition color cameras, and it's a whole different experience. It makes the experience a lot better. And what you're seeing here too is more Project Cambria apps. Now, I had a go at this demo on the Quest 2, and I've got a little short here to share with everyone. Now, I haven't released this short yet, but what you can see here is me putting on my headset and trying out the demo in the Quest 2. And as you can see, it's black and white, it's grainy, but it still works. You can see the furniture is mapped out here in the little outlines. And it's a really cool experience. It's very short, but just to run you through it, You can do it with the controllers or with hand tracking. I'm using controllers here. And you can change your walls into this mixed reality scene, if you like, as you can see here. And it's a real trippy experience because you get to play with this little alien chap on the floor and shoot balls through the wall, and he goes chases them and eats them, and it's weird. It's a weird experience, even though it's very short, and I'm sure there are a lot of other experiences down the track that they can share with us. It just really gives you a glimpse of what can be done. I know you had a. Did you have you tried that yet, Greg? And what did you think if you have?
I did. So you had told me about it the other day, and I thought, I probably need to look into it. I tried it out, and I feel like I've done everything that there is to do in VR. Haven't done very much AR, and the AR that I've done has been it's been okay. But the magic to all this is when they added the ability to bring in your walls into your Guardian and your your furniture, your couch, your desk, your windows, your doors. So I did a good amount of that first, just wondering where it was leading. And when you first start the demo, as we were seeing in your YouTube short there, it's okay. You got like a flashlight and there's a little guy running around going behind your furniture and stuff. And that was neat. But then when they have you actually point at a wall and the wall disappears, 100% one of those things my entire life I've seen in movies where they've done some type of AR thing, before it was called AR, like in the 80s and 90s. And I totally got that, yes, that feeling of like, this is exactly the thing I wanted. And it wasn't, I think I've had some concern that we're going to get that, whether it's Quest or whether it's app or whether, whatever it is. And it's just going to be like, oh, no, because I've had that basic same thing in AR for like the iPhone and the iPad, where like you see like a door rise up from the floor and you're like, well, that's neat, but there's a huge difference between holding a phone and like looking at it as if it's a magnifying glass and actually having it on your face. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it was short. The entire demo is like, I think 53 megabytes, which is super tiny. But it excited me. And honestly, it excited me for Facebook and what Quest or Meta and what Quest is doing. And like no time in that process did I even think about Apple, who has been doing all this AR stuff, through the iPhone.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I agree. I think I got the similar kind of feeling when I tried this demo. I got a similar feeling to you, Greg. It wasn't the same kind of feeling as when I first tried VR. I think everyone has their first VR stories. How they felt when they first tried VR, what they first tried. Everyone kind of remembers those kind of things.
Sure.
But for me, I did get as close as I could to that experience of, wow, this is something new, something exciting, and I can't wait to see where developers take this kind of stuff. I mean, I've been exploring pass-through experiences recently, and there are some awesome pass-through games already on the Quest. I did part 1 video of some of my favorite pass-through experiences already. Some of those games and experiences are in the official Quest store. Some are on App Lab. One of the ones I'm trying out now is called Hauntify, right? And I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's one you have to you can get from my App Lab, and the developer's currently sorting out a better way or a more efficient way of mapping out your home. But essentially what you do, you map your home out and you run away from like this ghost or monster or whatever you want to call it. So you're running around your home, this monster's chasing you, and it's scary. It is really it's really quite scary, and you get to obviously experience full I guess room scale VR, or AR, should I say in this case, mixed reality, and you can go around your whole house being chased by this creature, and it's like, wow, this is. I mean,
I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's scary. Yeah, it is really genuinely quite terrifying, and so you just know, and that's with a Quest 2 black and white grainy camera, and that probably actually works for it, because it makes it a bit creepier. But with the Cambria and the high def color cameras, you know that you're going to get. You can just imagine the kind of experiences and ideas are out there that developers can do.
So, like how I was saying that, PC VR was trying to go for realism.
Mm.
And I mean, it's never perfectly realistic. Like the Unreal Engine gets really close, and that was a number of years ago. And then I was concerned when the Quest came out that it was like, it's going to be very cartoony because the processor, the hardware's not going to be able to keep up with something that looks that real.
Mm.
But in the long run, those experiences, it didn't matter. It's just the idea of being next to a body that's the same height, the same width. It was just enough to trick your brain into going, oh, there's someone there when there's not.
Mm.
And I've been looking at this black and white grainy footage because when you watch, like when we watched your video there, you see the black and white grainy footage.
Mm.
But when you're in it, that kind of eventually goes away. Like, of course, I want the color pass-through from Cambria, but that black and white, it's almost like it doesn't matter as much as the fact that you're actually seeing raw objects around you. It's at some point you just kind of forget that it's black and white.
Mm.
And if anything, it makes the color, creatures or objects in that AR space pop more. And I wonder if even when we do have the color pass through cameras, will that be something like an artistic direction that someone takes, where sometimes they make the real world black and white to maybe even make a point,
Exactly. I think, well, there will be, that choice there, make it black and white. I mean, there's that game Samurai Slaughterhouse. There's a demo on SideQuest you can get right now, and that's that black and white style. And then when you slice an enemy, you get this splash of red blood, like just like crazy amounts of red blood coming out, and it really emphasizes the gore, having this black and white background. And so absolutely, I think there will be that creative license for people to do that, because you're right, it does make it pop.
I sometimes can't believe that we live in a time that we have this stuff. This is all like, I mean, 20 years ago, even then, and that's not that long ago, this was not even happening. And then it seems like overnight, we just have this amazing VR and AR content. I'm just super excited.
Yeah, it's really, and we're just on the cusp of it. Like we still, I mean, we're enthusiasts, and most people watching this would be enthusiasts, and have tried this stuff. But we got to realize that most people haven't still. There's a lot of people who haven't tried VR, and so or augmented reality, mixed reality, or maybe the best experience they've had is with one of those cardboard headsets and their mobile phone, which is obviously such a low quality experience, and probably
they
you
turned
off.
people off from VR, those low quality experiences, because when they saw that, and you ask those people, have you tried VR? And they'd say, oh yeah. And you'd say, oh, a Vive? Did you try an Index? Did you try a Quest? Oh no, it's this, thing we got, at our local store, a convenience store. And and just like, I mean, granted, that is VR, and it was a good first step, and I'm glad it was there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that, they think they've tried VR, like you've not tried VR yet,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And talking about trying VR, that actually leads on to our next discussion point, and that's about Steam VR usage. There's been a reported jump. I'll just bring up the Upload VR article. So this is the article that reported a 3.24% jump in Steam users connecting to a VR headset. So I'll bring up the chart here so you can see what that looks like. I mean, it seems quite small, but from what I understand, that would be a couple of million users. So that's a significant jump in users.
Sure, yeah.
Greg, what have you heard on that? What do you make of that?
So when I first saw the headline, it was, however, it may not be real. I've not been able to see this story anywhere, even on a Reddit post where it's someone saying, sure, it jumped. However, what about this? And, what would be special about May for this all of a sudden to jump to 3.24%? And to highlight something you said, 3.24%. That we're considering a big jump of just under 2% up to just over 3% to be a big jump. And, like you said, that's millions of users, but in the grand scheme of things, it just shows you how small VR still really is.
Yep.
And the theory that someone had was that, if I understand it properly, all of the Chinese Steam users were removed from this. And since there aren't very many, according to what I read, I've also heard the opposite, that VR is actually prevalent in China, but maybe it's just not VR on Steam. But since they removed all those Chinese Steam users, that's why this rose, because per capita, per capita per head, there's literally more people wearing Steam VR or VR headsets in Steam than if you remove all of China. But apparently, it doesn't make up that difference to get to 3.24%. And so the new theory as to why that is that Valve was accidentally undercounting the number of VR users, and that they have then corrected it, and that this entire time it's actually been a higher number. But I would think that they'd go back in time and maybe correct that over time. We wouldn't just see a large jump, and that there would be an asterisk saying this is why that happened. But I guess so far, nothing. What did you think about it?
Yeah, that's exactly. I heard the same thing. That it was maybe a glitch, an error, and I guess we'll see in the coming month. When they release the new statistics, to see if that goes down or stays the same, or what goes on. I heard that Upload VR did reach out to them, but haven't heard a response yet from Valve as to why that kind of happened. I was hopeful initially, because I know there's been a lot of mods, especially Resident Evil mods, coming out, and that's got obviously people excited for VR. That's helped people come into VR and want to try VR when you get these big games like Resident Evil, and you get to try them in your headset. And I'm talking about the latest Resident Evil games in full virtual reality. I thought it might be that. I heard as well someone talking about humble bundles. VR humble bundles are a thing, and perhaps that's encouraged more people onto the platform. But I think you're right. It sounds like a glitch. I mean, millions and millions of people to just jump on like that. That's
Right.
significant.
Well, and then you could have a VR headset on a PC and not use Steam VR whatsoever. You could be using the Rift software. You can use itch.io and any of the open VR standards that will still present a VR game inside your headset. I think there are plenty of VR users that just aren't using Steam VR, so it doesn't represent. I think a lot of people are going to read this and think this represents all PC VR, but this is also Quest users who connect to their Steam VR account for the first time. Or Quest users who only use PC VR from their Quest because they want to use it wirelessly, and they can't get that from their Vive or Vive Pro without having an extra adapter. Where anything through the Quest is 100%. These are Quest users. If there's a rise, it's literally more people have purchased headsets and have gone in. So I think we have to also take it with a grain of salt, and that means that there's even more people than just that 3.24% in PC VR. So it's overall, I think, good for PC VR and VR, or overall good for VR as a whole, and that's exciting.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I wait to see what happens next month with the reporting the statistics. I'll be great if it stays the same or even goes up. But yeah, it remains to be seen. I think it will be a glitch, unfortunately.
Right.
And so maybe we move on to, I know we've got one more point here. You want to show your HELLOREAL gun grip, Greg, something you've been playing around with recently.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to it's kind of funny. It's a comedy of errors that I've ended up reviewing accessories for all basically gun accessories for like the past 5 or 6 videos. They've just fallen in my lap. It's just the way it happened. Part of it is like, one would lead to another because someone would make a comment about the first one and they're like, oh, I'll go try that thing. And before you know it, every single one of my thumbnails is me holding a gun at the camera. So, so along the way, I came across the HELLOREAL SNOWFOX Pro. So I made a short about this. It's on my channel. I really like this a lot. It's 3D printed. You can kind of hear that's 3D printed. But what I like most about it, and it's a very attractive looking device. What I like most about it is this. When I take off the end, you can see there are quarters in there, and there's slots for up to 12 quarters. So you can make it more front heavy, more back heavy, or just do the entire thing. Yeah. And it actually changes the center of gravity, from here to here to here. And you can feel it. If you were blinded and someone just handed this to you, you could tell that, there's more quarters on the backside than the front side. And what I really was surprised by this is that I didn't realize how much more of a workout it would give you. Because like you think about like Beat Saber, that's a workout, or you think about Supernatural, that's a workout, and you think any type of gun game, it's not going to be a workout because it is. I'm just having too much fun. There's no way. Uh, this is like adding weights to your wrist, and now try doing something like pistol whip, uh, and it definitely adds more to it. I just these type of things, VR accessories, especially like 3D printed VR accessories. I love that there's organizations or companies, small companies making these. People just have an idea and they just go for it. They don't have to get some type of overseas manufacturing deal going,
Yeah.
invest a lot of money. I like that these come in different colors. I actually have this same thing in like it's called Royal, I believe. So it's got the purple there and it's got gold, and you can mix and match them, which I think makes it interesting. Which I think that looks pretty nice.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they have it for the Quest. This one's for the Quest 2. They also have it for Index and others. I don't know. It just adds that layer and level of immersion when you actually have something in your hand and you see the gun in your hand. It just makes you feel more like you're there, which is the whole purpose of VR to begin with.
Yeah.
Actually feel like you're doing something that you want to be doing otherwise. But it's a ton of fun. It adds more fun to the entire game. And at $40, I don't know. I think it's a fair price, especially for what you're getting, the amount of fun you're going to get out of it. So,
Yeah.
Tony, I think you're gracious enough to add a link to it, an affiliate link into the description of this video. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in checking that out, you can go to buy the affiliate link that's in the description. It costs you no extra, but it will just give Greg a little bit of commission. And so if you are interested, then you might want to consider purchasing it through that link. And yeah, I like these accessories. I mean, you first saw it with the Wii, right? So you remember the Wii motes, and you get those little accessories, like you get one like steering wheel or whatever to make it more realistic and immersive. And I think that is the goal of VR, immersion. And these accessories do that. With the guns accessories, I've always been a bit skeptical because it looks great, but then again, you're not looking at it. So it's kind of like, what's the purpose? Apart from the fact that the grip maybe feels like authentic. But what I like about that gun there is that you got the added weight too. And I can speak to the fact how even small weights can make a huge difference in terms of working out your arms and your body. I used the Kiwi dumbbells, and they were an interesting accessory. I don't have them on hand, but
I don't think I'm going to review those. I'll hurt myself.
well, that's the interesting thing, right? Because with the Kiwi dumbbells, they use lightweights, like 50 grams. You're talking about grams here, and over time, they do give you a workout. You have to be really careful, right? Because you can't. I wouldn't play them in Beat Saber, especially on the heaviest modes, because if you're swinging your arms around, I'm no physiotherapist, but I'm not sure how good that is for your joints. I mean, when you go to the gym, you don't pick up dumbbells and start swinging your arms around because you'll hurt yourself, right? Or somewhere else.
Right.
And so I think, but with for example, weights in that gun, then you're going to be doing controlled motions. You're not going to be flapping the gun around. And so when it comes to weights in accessories like that, I think it works better because you'll be using those weights you won't be, if you're doing controlled movements rather than swinging your arms around with weights, which I think, like I say, I'm not giving medical advice here, but I'm not sure how great that would be for your joints in the long term, Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd have to work your way up to it. Anything even like this, which isn't, I think, as heavy as those dumbbells. It's another thing that's in your hand that, I mean, at the end of the day in VR, you're still blinded. And as much as the Guardian helps you, and as much as you try to mentally stay in one place, you can hit someone and not know it. You can hit yourself in some way, or you can hit your TV.
Yeah.
There's always something there that can get hurt. But I think it's relatively safe. I think as long as also you have your hand through the lanyard and you have it cinched up, there's not much of a possibility of hurting yourself or hurting others. I had the exact same thing as you. I remember when I first saw the gun VR accessories. I didn't understand why anyone would want one. In fact, when I looked at it, I just assumed like it's got haptics, right? It has to have haptics. Why else
Mm,
would you do this? But the price was, the price is $40 US, and there was just no way there was haptics in it. Where something like the Pro 2 Pro Volver, that's $400. So to see something like this and not use it, I just didn't get it. But once I used it, 100% got it.
yeah,
I think if you are comfortable and familiar with guns, pistols, you've shot at all, and even if you've not, it's just having something in your hand that's relatively the same shape and size as the thing you're seeing in VR. And that doesn't just go for like a game where there's pistols. It can be anything. It can be like you know you wouldn't want to throw something like a bowling ball, but bad example. But you get the point. If you see a
yeah,
bowling ball and now you have a bowling ball in your hands, you at least can understand like it makes a connection, and it makes the game better if you're willing to pay the price for the accessory. And I think some accessories can get way too expensive. But
mm,
like with the Pro Volver, if you're one of those people that you like playing Onward, and it's something you do regularly with friends, or you're a part of a league of some sort, $400 all of a sudden becomes not a bad price for that
yeah,
level of immersion. So it just all depends on the person. But definitely, I think
absolutely.
having a pistol controller in your hand sure doesn't make any sense that it looks cool. I think it just looking cool is part of just getting you to buy it, and then it's nice looking at something that's cool. But when you're
Yeah,
in game, feeling it in your hand, it makes a difference.
absolutely. Yeah, I can see that making a difference. Haven't tried that yet, but I'll keep that on my list to check out.
Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
think we might finish up for now, Greg. So I've got a link to your channel in the description below. So if you want to give another shout out to your channel before we wrap up.
Yeah, for sure. Again, my name is Greg, and the channel is King of Nerds. When you go searching for it, just do King of Nerds VR. Make sure you add the VR in the end, or you can go to youtube.com/King of Nerds.
Right, Greg, well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me as always,
Yeah,
and
for sure. Thank you.
sure we'll do this again sometime.
Yep, for sure. Thanks.